So here I was. I thought that the flat earth idea was dead, that the content on YouTube was declining, that I could lean back and have a very nice pause from all of this stuff here, trying to prepare some educational content or something like that. Boy, was I wrong. By watching two good channels, the one called Simon Dan and the other called Professor Dave Explains, I found that the flat earth idea is, unfortunately, very well alive and ongoing. So in this video here, we will take the fight up together with these two fantastic people. Hello and welcome back to Mike's Observatory. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you've been well out there and that you have gone safely through the COVID pandemic. I know that I have been away from this channel for quite a while and I am terribly sorry about that. Like I said, I thought that there was no more flat earth content to be made, that I could lean back and just relax, but I was wrong. One of the flat earthers that has been really active lately also is no other than the infamous flat earther Eric Dubay. And today we are going to take a look at his video where he apparently tries to debunk modern science. So let's see what he has to say about that, shall we? No idea.
I'm Dr. Stuart Clark. I'm an astronomer and I'm the author of The Unknown Universe.
Oh, nice. Finally someone who knows what he or she is talking about.
Before being indoctrinated into the heliocentric globe lie.
Oh yes, the good old flat earth proof conspiracy nuttery.
What is actually so clearly obvious is that the world is flat and motionless.
No, it's not, but please do continue.
No sovereign-minded adult or child without previous exposure to the heliocentric globe myth would ever find such a thing to be so clearly obvious.
No, I'm also pretty sure that children don't find it obvious that it's bacteria that makes hole in their teeth or make them sick, but nevertheless, it is.
Because there is no empirical evidence whatsoever to support it.
Yes, there is. You just dismiss it completely at your leisure.
The horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around everyone, regardless of altitude.
Yes, because that is literally how geometry works when you're standing on the top of a very large sphere. Furthermore, it doesn't prove that the Earth is flat.
All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon over 20 plus miles high, with only NASA and other government space agencies showing curvature in their fake CGI photos and fisheye lens videos.
First of all, when you really examine the pictures or videos that you're referring to, you see a slight curve. Secondly, flat earthers really tend to use their beloved P900 to take photos. Thirdly, where's the proof that these images are either fake and or CGI?
Thus, what is clearly obvious is that Australians are not hanging upside down.
No, and neither scientists nor the heliocentric model claim such thing. It is your faulty claim that you pick up to support your own model, or lack of model, but whatever.
And you cannot dig a hole to China and find more sky below you.
Well, theoretically, you could actually dig a hole to China, but you wouldn't see the sky upside down. It is gravity that defines what is up and what is down, not your personal interpretation of it.
All young children, uncontacted tribes, and others free from globe indoctrination rightly assume the Earth to be a level, motionless plane.
Again, with this indoctrination claim, It doesn't prove that the Earth is not a sphere, nor does it prove that the Earth is flat. That's all.
Leave the harbour. You can see as they gradually disappear below the horizon.
His next argument comes from ancient Greek philosophers who have been debunked since the time they were presented, even way back then.
Really? By whom, actually?
The fact of the matter is that the law of perspective on plane surfaces dictates and necessitates this occurrence.
The law of perspective? The law of perspective does neither dictate nor necessitate any of your claims. Perspective is nothing more than the change of angular size with distance. It doesn't prefer neither top, bottom, or any of the sides. It shrinks uniformly as you move an object further away, which you could also prove with photos, but you don't. It would be just as stupid if I claimed that the law of perspective is the reason that I seem fat. No, the reason I seem fat is because I am fat.
For example, a girl wearing a dress walking away towards the horizon will appear to sink into the earth the farther away she walks.
Yes, because the earth is curved, not because of perspective. And furthermore, with these dimensions here that you mention, it is just as likely that she disappears because of imperfections in the earth. I mean, hills, valleys, and that kind of stuff, than the curve itself, and definitely not perspective.
Such is the case on plane surfaces. The lowest parts of objects receding from a given point of observation necessarily disappear before the highest.
In which geometry? Eric Dubai's geometry? Sorry mate, it doesn't exist. Claiming that the bottom of an object would disappear before the top when it's moving in a plane surface is as silly as claiming that two parallel lines could meet on a Cartesian coordinate system. It doesn't happen.
We can prove this as well by successfully zooming in on ships that have gone beyond the horizon.
But they haven't gone over the surface. Ironically enough, this is the place where you could actually claim perspective. Because when those ships are far away and you change the optics of your camera, you de-zoom it if you will, you enter a state where the angular size of the object is less than the angular resolution of the optics and the camera. When you zoom in, on the other hand, you change the optics so that the camera once again is able to resolve the angular size of the boat. If you simply just had the camera zoomed in at all times, you would notice that at one point the boat would disappear completely, and changing optics to something with a much higher zoom wouldn't bring the boat back. That is because the Earth is curved.
Rising in altitude always allows an observer to see further regardless of the shape of the ground beneath them.
Yeah, not quite. The hypothetical distance you can see on a flat plane is the length of the plane itself. The hypothetical distance you can see on the top of a sphere is determined by the distance to the top of the curve. When you increase your height on a flat plane, you can see further because objects on ground that would block your line of sight now can come into view. While this is also the case on a sphere, when you increase your height, you can also see further because you can actually see more of the sphere. So you're not actually incorrect there, but you definitely aren't really correct as well.
This is also part of the law of perspective on plane surfaces.
Again, you pull this law of perspective out of your like it's some kind of magical word that somehow proves the Earth is flat, when in fact it only demonstrates your lack of understanding.
Whether you were over a sphere, a cylinder, a triangle, or a flat motionless Earth, rising in altitude will always allow the observer to see further.
And again, both correct and incorrect as stated before.
This is an undeniable fact, and acting like this only happens on a globe is either disgustingly dishonest or incredibly ignorant.
Oh, the irony here.
The physics of orbits of things going around the Earth are constructed for a 3D spherical world. The key word here is constructed.
You see, the issue here is that no scientist would ever claim that our theories, our equations, our models, they aren't constructed. Of course they are. But that doesn't make them false. They are tested and verified against observations before they are viewed as valid explanations. We can make predictions with them and then test those predictions. And when there is consistency between what we observe and what we predicted, it would indicate that we have a good explanation, right? Also, they actually work. I mean, this is only a proof, once again, of Eric Dubai's personal incredulity. He doesn't understand it, therefore, false. No.
Working mathematical models can be constructed and made to work with any kind of physics or orbits and modeled in 3D.
Of course they can't. You can't just take a random equation and apply a sphere or 3D model. But obviously equations and theories that deal with physics on and around spheres can work on spheres in general. But that doesn't mean that they give the same result, and also this result still needs to be verified and compared with observations. Again, a clear example that Eric doesn't understand what he's criticizing.
This does not mean that these working physics models coincide with the actual natural world.
No, which is why they are tested against observations, which they have been. Thoroughly, I might add. But then again, Eric would know that if he had actually done the research about what he's criticizing.
NASA, in fact, admits over and over again in their mathematical models and official documentation that they are actually making all calculations assuming a flat and motionless Earth.
Oh yes, the good old quote mining. It never ceases to amaze me how flat earthers keep using that failed attempt. One thing is clear, Eric hasn't read and or understood a single one of the papers he refers to. Then he would know that they assume a flat stationary Earth because it simplifies the equations, and the errors in doing so isn't detrimental to the results. Just like we assume that the atmosphere is obeying fluid mechanics, even though the atmosphere is not strictly a fluid, it's a bunch of particles. But we can simplify the equations by using fluid mechanics when we are modeling the atmosphere, and when we compare those models with our observations, they are in agreement.
And yet again, when you ask supposed scientists how they know the Earth is a globe, they inevitably offer up the suggestion that pictures prove it.
Again, the irony is oh so thick here, since the primary proof we get from flat earthers are pictures.
Pictures like these, Dr. Stewart?
Oh yes, the blue marble. Tell me, Eric, where the Simmons, or NASA for that matter, say that the blue marble picture is actually scientific evidence? This is nothing more than a straw man from your side.
Pictures like these?
Which only proves that Eric also do not understand optics and instrumentation for scientific work. I dare you, Eric, pick up a phone or any kind of camera from 10 years ago and put some random optics on it and take a picture, and then compare that with a picture taken with a modern DSLR. Do they look exactly the same, Eric?
And these?
This is the same issue. Different optics, different instrumentation, different images. Why is this so hard to understand?
But pictures like these obvious CG images?
Really? Would you care to present some proof for that claim?
Can be and are faked.
Again, where's the proof here? Or are they simply fake because Eric Dubai can't grasp them to be real? Again, just an example of Eric's personal incredulity.
and are not permissible as scientific evidence.
Why? Because Eric Dubai says so?
Imagine for a moment that, the Earth was flat. Well, how much thickness does it then have? These are the kind of questions you'd have to ask.
These are also questions you should be asking of your spinning ball Earth, Dr. Clark.
Which we have. We have presented models to test for the content of the Earth, and then compared those models with the observations we could gather. For example, we know that waves will change speed as they go through a medium with different density. The density changes will change the speed of the waves. When they transition from one layer to another, they will change speed. We can measure that, and this is how we have tested the thickness and content of the different layers in the Earth. What have flat earthers done in this matter? Thought so.
Wikipedia and every elementary school textbook will claim the globe is nearly 4,000 miles to the center, where there exists the alleged source of magnetism in their model. A hypothetical molten magnetic core in the center of the ball, which they claim conveniently causes both poles to constantly move, thus evading independent verification at their two ceremonial poles.
Again, yet another example of Eric Dubai's personal incredulity. He cannot believe it, therefore it is false. The fact is that all the issues he raises has been measured and verified. If he had actually done any kind of real research on this matter, he would know that. Spitting out word salad as independent verifications make him sound smart, but only proves that he isn't.
In reality, the deepest drilling operation in history, the Russian Kola Superdeep, after decades of work and dozens of broken drills, managed to get only 8 miles down.
And so?
Nobody knows what is beneath 8 miles down.
Once again, a claim from personal incredulity. Eric doesn't understand nor believe what science tells him, therefore it's fake. Anyone with just elementary school knowledge of science would instantly know this claim to be obviously false.
Okay, you've got an edge. Well, would things fall off the edge?
You've got an edge? You, Dr. Clark, have got an edge.
Oh, you are so funny, Eric. I really can't stop laughing.
But not a single legitimate flat earther claims there to be an edge.
Oh, the no real Scotchman fallacy. Well done, Eric. You found a new fallacy that you can misuse. Good for you!
Thanks to the Antarctic Treaty, signed by over 50 countries, it is impossible to independently explore the southern perimeter of Earth.
There is no such statement in the Antarctic Treaty, and yet flat earthers keep peddling this as it was some kind of obvious truth. Eric, read the treaty and you would know how it actually sounds. The point of the treaty is to make rules about what you can do and cannot do on Antarctica. For example, you cannot place military bases there. It's supposed to be a free area where you can conduct scientific work no matter where you're from. And yes, ordinary civilians have actually visited Antarctica, but you can't just roam around there freely, not because there are secrets that the government don't want you to explore, but because it's a dangerous area to be. It's a big wasteland that is very, very cold, very, very barren, and offers no protection nor shelter in miles of distance. That is why you can't just land on Antarctica and then roam around freely. But you can get guided tours there.
To find out how the Antarctic ice terminates. No genuine flat earther knows or claims to know such things.
And again, the no real Scotchman or no true Scotchman fallacy.
But when it comes to the effects of so-called gravity, they are easily explained.
Oh, this is going to be so good.
Quite simply, objects fall or rise based on their relative density to the medium surrounding them.
Their relative density to the medium surrounding them. That statement only proves that Eric also do not understand what density is. He could just as well have said mass or volume. Density is nothing more than the amount of particles within a given volume. Together, they give mass. But even if it was true, he still fails to explain why things tend to fall down and not up or sideways. Also, since mass isn't a force, how does it even make things move?
Apples fall because they are denser than the air.
But why do they fall? Why not go up, or sideways, or any kind of other direction? Clearly, the air surrounding the apple is equally less dense all around the apple.
Helium balloons rise because they are lighter.
The same question. The air surrounding a helium balloon is equally more dense all around the balloon, so why does it go up? Why doesn't it go down, or sideways, or spin around in circles, or any other kind of motion? You cannot explain that just using density and buoyancy.
No gravity necessary.
Well, actually, the formula for buoyancy does include the gravitational constant little g, the gravitational acceleration, but you would have known that if you actually included and or looked up that equation, which you probably didn't.
Everything seeks its relative density.
Which is just another load of word salad. You could just equally as well have said that everything seeks its maximum density or mass equilibrium. It doesn't mean anything, it's just words.
If Newton's apple had landed in a puddle instead of on his head, he would have seen the apple only fell through the air because it was denser than the air.
Really? Do you care to prove that? Did you have a conversation with Newton in some kind of out-of-body experience or something like that? Come on, man.
We can also prove this fact of relative density by filling a balloon with approximately half helium and half air.
Nope. Still not a proof.
Since helium is lighter than the oxygen, nitrogen, and other gases that compose the air around us, filling a balloon with just the right amount of helium to compensate for and balance out the density of the plastic results in a gravity-defying, levitating balloon at equilibrium that neither rises nor falls.
Oh, this is actually getting amusing. So, the wrong explanation, where you still haven't accounted for the preference of direction, defies a force that you claim doesn't exist. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, man. The fact is that all you have done is very eloquently prove that the force of gravity and the force of buoyancy actually exists. That's all.
The flat, motionless Earth is not only possible, it's actual.
Well, under the current observational data, flat Earth is pretty much impossible, so no.
What is impossible, however, is making that fact known to people who so thoroughly believe the prevailing model first presented to them that they cannot open their minds enough to even question it.
Oh yes, the conspiracy idiocy again. The irony is also so thick here. Eric doesn't want you to believe the huge amount of scientific evidence and explanation that the scientific community has amassed over the last 1,000 years or so, but would you like you to believe him because he's Eric Dubai, right? If you open your eyes, you'll see that the Earth is flat because reasons. Alright, that's it for this video here. I hope that you really learned something here. Even if you're Eric Dubai and you watch this video, I hope that you have learned something. Probably not, but I mean, I'm a very optimistic guy, so hopefully it is. And if you really like my content and would like to see more from me, then please hit that little like and subscribe and all of that down there. And if you would like for me to cover another topic regarding astronomy or physics or even flat Earth, then put it in the comments down below. I really will do my best to be back next week with another video where I'm pretty sure we will dig a little deeper into the flat earth understanding of Mr. Eric Dubai. Bye bye. See you later.